Hi, everyone. This is Joe Spicer. I'll be your host today. This was kind of a spur of the moment interview. We were just launching a new store in the village of Greendale, Wisconsin, and it's called Serendipity. And Starcross Comics has a storefront at that shop. So we were doing a lot of work, and I didn't think I was going to do a live stream today. And then we went out to eat, and Evan, who is our guest today, asked me, "Hey, let's do an interview." And I said, "Well, I guess I'd get back around this time." So it was kind of a spur of the moment interview. Evan David is the creator of such titles as Black Blossom, Erg the Battler, Outed, Strange Tales from Eternity. He's also done writing work on Biblical Proportions #2, coming soon. He's done writing work on Starcross United, and he's also the editor in chief of uh, a lot of our books moving forward. And he's just a really great writer. He's done other books for Kingstone Media, and he's done a book called Eve and a bunch of other stuff. He writes too much; we can't keep up with him. But he's going to be our guest today, and we'll do a little interview, see what he's got going on. But without further ado, we're going to start the show. Evan,
Hey,
you're freaking me out there, man. He
I'm
waited till the
sorry.
last minute to show up. I'm like, I'm going to have to cancel the show. I don't see him. He must be
I'm
doing
sorry.
laundry or eating dinner.
My family and I were doing family game night, and it went a little longer than I thought it would. So,
Nice. What were you playing?
the game of life, but it's the
Hmm.
mobile version, so no setup, no teardown,
Hmm.
and yeah, we linked it to my TV so we could see what was on the phone on the TV,
Oh,
and
wow.
so yeah, it's a quicker version of Game of Life, but not as quick as I thought it was going to be. So
Ah, okay. Yeah, we had just went out to eat because of the store opening and everything like that. So
nice.
I said, well, I wanted to do a live stream today, but I'm like, I got so much going on. There's no way I'm gonna have to organize everything. And it's you wanted to do it, so I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let's just do it then when I get back. So I told everybody about Black Blossom, Erg the Battler, and Outed, and Strange Tales from Eternity, and all of that. And most people are familiar with your titles on our website. Um, let's. I mean, I don't know if you have a certain topic you want to go on, but otherwise we could get to know you a little better, see how
Sure.
you started off in interest in comics, and then why you started your own comics, and what are you working on now, and what are you working on in the future.
Okay. Sounds good. So just you want me to riff on that?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
a little bit about yourself, whatever you want to talk about on who you are, and what makes you you, and then why did you get in? Why do you like comics? Why did you want to do your own comics?
Okay, great. Yeah, so I am a Christian first and foremost. That's the main focus of my identity. Jesus saved my life and changed my life, and so I everything I do stems out of that. Everything that I create, or hopefully everything I say or do, or whatever, it stems out of. I want to be like Christ because He saved my life. So uh, that's the main core thing. I'm also as you can tell, I'm a creative person. Basically anything creative except for like music, I
Hmm.
have dabbled in and have tried to produce some things. Yeah, everybody else in my whole family is musical, and that's like the
Oh,
one thing that
yeah,
I'm not
me
great with.
neither.
Yeah. So Yeah, so with comic books, my
Yeah.
dad is the one who introduced me to comic books. You can see over here on my shelf, I've got a bunch. My dad's got way more than me. He's a pastor down in Virginia. He got into comic books when he joined the army, and his brother, he was having a lot of anxiety, and his brother was like, "Hey, you should go do some comic books. Maybe that'll help you chill out." And so he did. He got hooked, and it's passed it down through the generations. So now I'm hooked. And last night, my 5-year-old daughter, wanted to stay up
Mhm.
late with her little headlamp, reading her own comic book collection that she has
Oh,
in
well,
bed. So it's just continuing on.
that's cool.
So
When did your
yeah.
daughter start liking comics? I'm just curious because I have a
Oh,
3-year-old.
like 3 years old, like a little three, maybe her late threes.
Okay.
That sounds like a weird thing to say. Her late
Because
threes.
mine, I mean, he'll look at it for like 1 second and, might be a little too rough with it.
Well, I buy her own stuff,
Hmm.
and she collects My Little Pony,
Hmm.
um, and I will read it to her for a bedtime story,
Hmm.
and so that because she can't read yet, so
Yeah,
then whenever she goes back to it, she knows kind of like the gist of the story, and she just likes to look at the pictures
that's
and
cool. Yeah,
pretend
I
she's.
hope to do that too, eventually. That would be awesome.
Yeah, my dad did that for us when we were little. He would read us comic books in bed, like Superman and Dragon Ball Z and
Mm.
things like that.
Well, Dragon Ball Z. And in this panel, he says, "Ah!"
Yeah. Dude, I
A lot
love
of
Dragon Ball.
repeating. No,
That's a great.
I mean, I make fun of Dragon Ball Z, but I've seen every episode, even the new ones.
Yeah,
I
I'm
It's
still
just
not
like
caught
a
up on
guilty
all the new ones.
pleasure.
Yeah,
So,
I'm still not caught up on all the new ones. I need to
oh,
finish the series.
really? No,
Yeah.
I once they start broadcasting them, I I kind of dabbled because I didn't know if it was going to be any good, and then I missed some, so I'm like, oh, I got to see when they would do a marathon. Then I would just watch them all the way through, and
Well, I think they're all on Hulu, and I don't have Hulu,
yeah,
so at some point I'm gonna
okay,
have to just get a month of that and just watch it.
yeah, yeah. It was like the cosmic tournament where no,
Yeah,
it was like the multiverse.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
I've
they're
started
fighting.
that. I started
Yeah,
that little arc, but I haven't
yeah.
yet.
It's a long burn. You start going, oh,
Well, the whole
there's a lot
series
to
is.
go.
The whole
Yeah,
series is a long
but
burn. So
it was worth it. It was worth it. But so you got into comics, and then at some point you decided that you want to do your own. And how did that happen?
well, I've kind
Or
of
or
always.
or was Kingstone before you start? What was before you started doing your own books? Were you doing books for other
I don't
companies?
know. No. I think I started before I got connected with Kingstone, and I don't
Okay,
write for Kingstone. Um,
you did the
I
animation.
Yes, I do. I still do the
Yeah.
animation for them. If you can see it on Amazon, and it's
Hmm.
on
I
Right Now
did see it on
Media.
Amazon.
It's on Right Now Media as
I
well.
was with my wife and I was flicking through Amazon Prime, and I was like, "Oh, here's some from Kingstone," and I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's Evan's voice."
It
I
is.
went,
It
"How
is
am I
my voice.
watching? How am I listening to Evan while watching something on Amazon?" It was like really surreal. It was bizarre.
Yes. So I do. I do their videos called the 101 Questions About the Bible and Christianity, and it's some great stuff. And it's animating their apologetics comics basically. So
Okay.
it's super. Yeah, it's fun stuff, and it's super educational, and it's a great way to address these questions, because usually you'd have to look it up or on a blog or on in a textbook or something,
Yeah.
hear it in a sermon, and this is just a great way to address that stuff. I
Yeah.
love it.
Evan, let's if you pause for a second, let's check some of these comments that we're getting. So,
Okay.
Robert was letting me know that I should rebrand the channel Starcross. Yeah, if I can just rebrand it. I don't know if I have to make a brand new channel or if I can rename it. If I can just rename it, then I will. He says
What?
easier to. He mentions it's easier to search.
What's
So
it
we'll have to
called?
look into that.
What's it
Right
called?
now, it's just my like Spice Master one. It was my channel, so I don't know if I can just easily change that or if they make you commit to that name for the rest of your life. And then
Gotcha.
Here's the relentless tin soldier,
Nice.
and he's saying, "Hey everyone," and that's Nicholas Gear. And let's see. Now here's something for you. Brad
Oh,
says, "Recently purchased your Black Blossom books and really enjoyed them. Well done, sir." That's
why,
awesome.
thank you very much, Brad. I'm glad you like them. I am a big fan as well. It's my favorite series I do, and yeah, that's the character that's closest to my heart,
Yeah.
literally. Yeah. So
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yeah,
Brad gets a lot of books from Starcross, and he's not related, nor you know, but we value him greatly, and we're glad. I'm pretty sure Brad has all your issues, if not everything you've done.
awesome. I've got a ton of issues as well.
Hmm. Well, that's for another show.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Now we'll continue where you left off, hopefully.
yes, where was that?
Mm-mm. So you started doing your own books.
Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, I've always kind of in the back of my head wanted to do comic books, but I thought, I was pursuing other career paths. I thought I was going to be
Mm.
a film director. Then I thought,
Mm.
oh, full time animator, et cetera, et
Oh,
cetera, et
yeah, yeah.
cetera. And then I have started having these ideas for little mini comics. And I was like, I would go to my artist friends. I'm like, hey, let's do this. Let's like make a 4-page comic or whatever for this little idea. And none of them wanted to do it. So eventually one night I was just laying in bed and I could not go to sleep. And I had all these ideas in my head. And I really felt like that night that God was telling me, just get up and do it. Like this is what I am calling you to do, is to tell these stories and to make these points about Christianity via the comic book medium. And so that night I got up, I started researching how to get these things done. And that those little tiny stories turned into the Strange Tales from Eternity series,
Mm.
which is what got your attention and got me connected to
You're right.
Starcross.
You're right. It did. Yeah, I saw those mini stories, and they were it was a variety, but they all seemed pretty inspired. But I would pause you there and say you must have had some kind of writing background because
Yes, yes.
yeah.
I and it wasn't like a professional writing background, but
Hmm.
I since probably late middle school, early high school, I was writing fan fiction.
Hmm.
And I've always enjoyed writing. And it took me just forever to figure out that the thing I liked about movies when I wanted to be a film director, or the thing I liked about cartoons where I wanted to be an animator, the thing I liked the most was the storytelling.
Hmm.
And I finally figured out, hey, even though you're the director or even though you're involved in the animation, you still don't have the influence on the story that you would have if you were a writer. And so now I finally figured out, hey, I want to be a writer. And so that most of my creative free time stuff is going into writing.
Yeah,
Currently.
what I notice is you're able to take concept and then grasp it instantly and then create the best model to present it in and quickly, because I know some of my friends that are great writers, but they take forever, years just to do one story, and then they're not happy with it and then they want to rewrite it. Like you'll finish it like in a week or a couple days, and it's like great, depending on the length of the story, but you're able to pace the beginning, middle, and end, and structure it where it'll catapult to the next issue and all of that. And that's a really hard concept to get good at. Even I mean, I study things, in story structure and plotting and whatnot, and to be able to, with comics, is really bizarre. So you're not writing a novel, you're not writing, it's almost like you're writing a series versus a movie,
Yeah.
but even shorter. So
Yeah.
you have your story arc, with beginning, middle, climax, and then resolution. But you have to do mini ones every
Yes.
issue. There has to
Yes.
be a climax, and not like a ending, but like a resolution, which
Cliffhanger.
then goes back into
Yeah.
another. So you're constantly going up, down, up, down, up, down every issue. And I don't
Right.
know, I don't know
So over
what's
your
like
six
that.
issues, you
Hmm.
have over your six
Hmm.
issues, you have one arc for the graphic novel. But yeah,
Yeah,
in that you have six
you
little
have little
arcs.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and people don't realize that that's not easy to do. Some people want to, like, give all their good stuff right away, and then there's nothing left, or you're going to have some boring issues, or you're going to have
Yeah.
some weird where the character really didn't change, or what
Well,
was
and
the point of the story? Yeah.
that's something that it's been hard with the Black Blossom is
Mm.
because I've got that in my brain that it for a good comic series does have a slow burn. Uh,
Yeah. And Black
even if
Blossom,
it's
you
only
did do a
6 or
slow
12
burn because I
issues,
was, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's got to be you got to have that time to develop that character stuff and to
Hmm.
have the plot make sense so it's not
Hmm.
contrived or forced and whatever. And so what you're saying is like my understanding of plot and story and the ability to do it. That's all just I just chalked it up. That's a gift from the Lord. I mean, because I feel like I watch as much movie, read as much comics as anybody else,
It
maybe
seems
more.
like it
You
seems
know,
like you understand the rules.
yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff I have done in my life, the vast majority has been just self-taught
Hmm.
and just trying it. You just got to try it and you just got to do it and you got to make
Hmm.
mistakes and keep doing it until you get good at it. And that's how you do it with any skill. And so thankfully, I had that practice of writing those fan fictions, which are just I
Hmm.
look back on them I'm like, well, this is lame. Some of it
Now,
is like, wow, that's pretty good, but some of
I
it's like,
remember on Outed was kind of what you wanted to do for a Superman story. Is that right?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of my goals in the bucket list is to write a Superman thing, any Superman thing. Like, uh, a cool thing that I've got to do is I've got to do a DC sanctioned Superman commercial. I got to make one for my local comic book store. They had a custom Superman cover made, and I got to animate it and advertise it
I think I've
on
seen that. Yeah.
TV. So that was really cool. So technically,
Yeah.
I have worked on a Superman thing, but I would like to write something. I don't care if it's a Snickers ad in the middle of the
Hmm.
book. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's one of the things. So I asking around, I'm like, how can I, get in there? And basically, you just have to keep writing and writing and writing and getting your stuff out there. And so one of the things, most of my stuff is all Christian stuff. If it's not overtly Christian, it's got heavy Christian undertones, like Black Blossom does. She's not a Christian character.
Mm-mm.
It's not, but there's lots of Christian stuff and worldview stuff going on in that book.
Yeah, it's subtle though. It's with
Yes,
the
I
two
try to
with
I
the
try to make it subtle. It's going to get less
yeah
subtle. Um,
with your yeah. But if somebody would get issue 1 through 5, I mean, you almost think it's just background,
mm,
and then until the you know
until
issue
the
5
twist.
and what. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. I
So, but
wouldn't have been
without it,
able to hold that under glass too long like you did. I would have
yes.
had to be like at the end.
Yeah. No, have to not say anything. You gotta
Mhm.
just read it. There's a twist, and I like it, and it's got to be that slow burn, or else the twist it's irrelevant. It's like I don't like M. Night Shyamalan stuff, but one of his great things is he is good at the twist, and he
Yeah.
likes to save it till that very end. But without it, anyway, let me make my point about outed.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
without it, that's my totally my secular pitch for comic books. So that's the one.
Oh,
If
oh,
I go to a convention or something and I want to write for Superman, or I see an editor, from DC or something, I'm going to hand him outed.
okay.
Because that's kind of my story for that. So that's supposed to be 6 issues. I've only got 2 issues done of that.
Wow.
All
Okay.
6 are written. I don't have the funds
Yeah, I
currently
really like the character
to.
Stellar Man. He I mean,
I
there's
think
something about the suit. I like the beard with that dark blue suit and the dark blue logo and highlights. It's something that really works. It's not like, so many people do their version of a Superman character, and it looks so much like Superman. Clean cut, the short, black hair, and then the the trunks and the
Yep,
cape,
yep.
and you're like, yeah, it's Superman. You just change the colors, but Stellar Man has that Superman vibe, but he's got. Is his hair like almost reddish? Is it like
It's like a
brown,
dirty
red?
blonde.
Oh, okay, okay. And then the beard, which is unique, and then the suit, it looks iconic, but it doesn't look like, oh yeah, that looks just like, and
Yes.
that's really good.
The only thing you need for a Superman analog really is the physique and the cape. That's really all you need.
Yeah, it's the cape.
Yeah, you have to have the cape. And so
Well,
but for me, I definitely wanted to make it different enough where it's not just like a blatant, dollar store toy knockoff, Superman. I wanted it to be
yeah.
his own character. And the high concept for that series, if people don't know, it's what if the Superman family transitioned into becoming the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
So you've got Superman, you got Lois, you've got their child, and you've
Hmm.
got like the robot from the Fortress of Solitude,
Hmm.
and all of a
I
sudden
see.
everybody's identity is public, and they've become celebrities, and so that
Yeah.
now they're transitioning into that lifestyle of the Fantastic Four, where everybody knows their
Right.
address, and they're like the most famous family in the world.
Okay. We got a comment about Outed. This Relentless Tin Soldier says, I really enjoyed Outed in issue 2 when his ex shows up.
Yes, in issue 2 of Outed,
Mm,
they have the public address, so then Stellar Man's
mm.
crazy ex-girlfriend, who is a superpowered person, knows where to find him now, and chaos ensues. So it's a fun little twist there.
Yeah. Yeah, she reminded me of like a what's his name from War World? Mongol. It didn't what wasn't there a Mongal?
Mongal, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, she's based on the character Maxima,
Yep.
or
Hmm.
that's what inspired her. Maxima was
Yeah.
a Superman character from the 90s.
Hmm. But now you do a lot of animation. So where did that come from?
That's just really self-taught.
Hmm.
It just comes
Oh.
from wanting to have fun doing projects. It started when I was in my early 20s and I wanted to make like a lightsaber video or like a Star Wars fan film thing. And that forced me to have to teach myself After Effects. And
Hmm.
then, that just kept progressing and progressing. And all of
Okay.
a sudden now I'm animating,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. I understand that. I mean, I was working with Photoshop since Photoshop 1,
Mhm.
so we just taught ourselves how to do everything, and then same thing with the other programs. So I can understand if we would have spent more time learning to animate, maybe we would have been at your level, but we were just learning how to color and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, because uh, I've done a lot of I totally lost my train of thought. It's
Yeah,
gone now.
a lot of
So,
animation, a lot of watching animation.
oh yeah. So I've done a lot of freelance. I've done a lot of freelance work with animation, and
Okay.
so that's what's giving me some income. But
Hmm.
the bad part is the better you get at it, the less time it takes. So if you're working hourly, that's not great, because what used to take you 4 hours now takes you five
Yeah.
minutes. And like,
Okay.
what,
Right.
and one of the best things about After Effects is like you've got this process of how to do this one effect. And then 2 years in, you realize there's literally a button that
Hmm.
will you press and it does it. And it's taking you 2 hours every time to do your process to get this thing done
Wow.
when you could have just pushed a button. So
Wow.
that's happened
Uh,
several times to me
I'm
over the
gonna
course of
I'm
my
gonna
career.
I'm gonna show one of your animations really quick. I'm gonna do a screen share here,
Okie
and I'm
doke.
gonna bring up. I'm gonna. Whoop, that's not it. We're gonna bring up one of your videos. Share screen and share audio, and we're gonna share this. Nice. So that was a Black Blossom animation that you did.
Hmm.
Yeah. And if
Yeah. So
and if you and if you had any that you wanted to show, let me know, and I can let you screen share too. That was what I pulled up.
okay. I don't know if
Um,
I have any more animations
mhm.
to show off currently.
Maybe talk about your Kingstone stuff.
Yeah, so like I said, it's just the 101 questions about the Bible. And so I do the animation for it, and they have things like, they answer some hard questions like, if you don't know Christ and you die, if you've never heard of Christ and you die, do you go to heaven? We have a whole apologetics video about hell. We just did a really hard one about, did God order genocide in the Old Testament? And why did that
Hmm.
happen? Stuff like that. We've got like, were there dinosaurs on the ark? Um, a bunch of addressing a bunch of scientific criticism of the Bible, talking about did Jesus really die, or did he just, like, is there some other explanation for why people think he rose again? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I bought that book when it first came out at the store before I ever met you. So
Nice.
I remember those books coming out. Um, I thought it was cool. I mean, I had researched a lot of those topics already, but it was just cool to see it in a comic form. So I
Yeah,
wanted to support that and check it out. Um,
it's cool stuff. And if
yeah,
you've ever had those
it was
questions
good.
about the
Hmm.
Bible, yeah, if you've ever had those questions, this would be like the best way to check them out and to get a cursory understanding of these things, because it has, like, it's, there's cool pictures and art, and it does a pretty good job of explaining everything in a easy to
Hmm.
understand way.
I know Ben Avery did that big book on how the Bible was done, but in comic
Yes.
form. I
The
forget
Book
the
of God.
name. The Book of God. That
Yeah.
is amazing, amazing, amazing.
Yes.
And that it it was that his publication or was that Kingstone?
Kingstone. They hired him
It
to do
was
that.
Kingstone.
Yes.
So, but was it his concept? I wonder.
I
Huh?
don't know. It could have been.
Because he
I
wrote
know
it.
that.
Ben
Yeah.
Avery wrote it. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. And
It
they
was
hired him to do
amazing.
the Christ
Mm,
miniseries, which is the
hmm.
entire life of Jesus, combining all four gospels in chronological order of
Hmm.
events. It's pretty cool.
How did you meet Ben?
He went to my church. He
Oh,
was he was the janitor at my church,
okay. So
and so
that
I joined the
was
church, and my friend, I was friends with the worship pastor, and he introduced us. He's like, "Hey, you guys like comic books? You should talk." And then we did not talk,
funny.
because we're both kind of introverted. But then later we got together and talked, and so now we do podcasts together. And
Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. At that time when you met at church, neither of you were doing comics, or yeah, you were, or
Ben's been doing comics forever.
forever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
been doing that since, like, I think the mid '90s or something, or
Hmm.
the late '90s.
Okay, so he
Uh,
was doing comics. So when you found out he actually did comics, you were kind of freaked out, or was that like crazy?
I thought it was cool, but then I thought it was
Yeah.
really cool because my dad had bought me one of his comics when I was a
Oh,
teenager.
weird.
Yeah, so
Whoa, that must have been freaky that you just run into him.
yeah, I was like, "What? That's awesome."
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the comic book industry is a small world, and the Christian
Hmm.
comic book industry is an even
Even
smaller
smaller.
world.
Yeah.
So when you start diving into, like, the creators of Christian comics, you're bound to,
Yeah, that's
if you
true.
know one person, you're bound to know a bunch of other people by
Yeah.
association.
Do you want to talk about your podcast?
Sure, I've got two podcasts right now. One is Strangers and Aliens. You can check that out at strangersandaliens.com. And if you search Strangers and Aliens on the podcatcher of your choice, it's on there. It's a uh, podcast about science fiction, faith, fantasy, and imagination. And we analyze sci-fi, fantasy, pop culture stuff through the lens of Christianity, and vice versa. We for instance, one episode we did, we analyzed the Christmas stories, but as
Oh.
but through the lens of like classifying alien encounters. So they have, like you have a close encounter of the first kind, the second kind, and the third kind,
Okay.
and all three of them happen in uh Christmas story and with angels, and with God. And so we did a whole
Oh,
episode on
nice.
that. And so we have some audio dramas on there that we produced. Ben actually has he is some other creators. They have a full universe of audio drama superhero
Oh, yeah.
stories going currently called Supersonic Pod Comics, and that's pretty cool as well.
And you're big into radio dramas. And we want to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
like.
I thought you're big into it.
I mean, I'm big into it professionally. It's just something that I've kind of gotten into and have the opportunity to do a lot of. It's not my favorite medium. My favorite medium is comic books, but radio drama is a great way to tell some really great stories on a budget, just like comic books are. It's cheaper than
Okay.
comic books if you can
Oh,
find
neat.
the talent for.
Well, but I mean, it's hard because you got to find a bunch of voice actors to do everything.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am a producer for an audio drama series called Basecamp Adventures, and you can check that
Mhm.
out at lifeaction.com/basecamp, LIFE action.com/basecamp. And it's a audio drama series for kids. I write most of it. I'm the head writer currently. At least the past 3 or 4 albums, I've written most every episode. And so yeah, you can check that out. We're writing more of that. We're producing more of that currently, and it's pretty great. We've had nothing but rave reviews on that. So and some people have come to know Christ through that as well. So it's been
Now, if you're looking for
super
any
cool.
voice actors, I have a couple friends that fancy themselves voice actors. So if you're ever
Okay.
like, we need more, I can send them your way, but you don't have to use them. I don't care.
Okay. Um, so yeah, I do a lot of that, and you can check out all my stuff that I've done on
Mhm.
evandavidproductions.com, and it's got links to every single published work that I've done. It's got the audio dramas, the podcasts, the comic books, the novellas, etc., etc. I do have one more podcast called the Aspiring Kryptonians podcast.
Mm.
I didn't start it. I'm a co-host on it, and we review every Superman comic book that comes out currently. Every Superman piece of media that is currently coming
Mhm.
out, we review it. So if you
We
like
just
Superman,
finished.
check it out.
We just finished the season finale of Superman and Lois.
Don't tell me about it. I
Oh,
haven't
are you
seen it.
behind?
I am. I'm supposed to
How are you
have
going to
that review
review it?
done. Yeah, I've got. Well,
Oh,
we review it fortnightly, so it's next Saturday or Sunday. I've got to do it,
you
but
got to
I do
watch it
need to
then.
get the
Yeah.
written review in, so I do need to
Mhm.
watch that soon.
Yeah. I mean, I thought every episode prior to that was the finale. I'm like, well, this is the finale, obviously. And
Yeah,
then I'm like, how is there more? Oh, this is the finale. And then there's another one. And I kept thinking each one was the finale because it was such a high stakes that I'm like, well, this is obviously how they're gonna like cut it right at the end.
yeah.
So, I hope season two is as good and they maintain everything that they did in season one because it was
Well,
good. And
it's that show set a new bar for CW stuff.
yeah,
They kind of cheated though a little bit because they've got the funding from HBO. So
see, because it's on like a movie quality or like a
yeah,
HBO level. Yeah, because so okay, th- those that cast for Lois and Superman slash Clark when they were on Supergirl, I did not like the actor who played Superman. I said I don't like him. Just instant thing. Don't like him. Don't like how he's acting. Don't like how he looks. Don't like his suit. Don't like anything. Don't like it at all. At all. So I hated it completely. And then when they introduced um, his Lois, I did think she looked very much like who am I
Margot
thinking of
Kidder.
from yes.
Hmm.
So that, but I wasn't into and then when the new show started, I mean he had like a 5 o'clock shadow all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and his suit was so much better on him.
Hmm.
And then I felt I felt it was like I don't know, I'm gonna blame the Supergirl um writers, lighting directors, editors. videographers, the costume
Well,
design. I'm gonna blame everything because whoever did the Superman and Lois series took those same actors and just put something around them that just made them awesome, and just all the writing, nothing's cheesy, nothing's tongue in cheek, everything is like serious, everything is like real drama, everything's like really good effects, everything is like lighted well. I mean, each scene has a reason for it, and it's just like everything is high stakes and cool stuff, dangerous stuff. I was just like, I didn't even. I was blown away. I was ready to hate it. I said, just going to watch this just to see. I was blown away from episode 1.
yeah. You know what else is fantastic is Stargirl. Have you watched any of that?
So, okay, when Stargirl, I watched the first episode and I liked it, and then I missed like 3 episodes. And then I caught it again, and it's like she was kind of discovering some like almost like JSA
Yep.
items.
Mhm.
And but then she was like, they were going to be given to like her friends at school and stuff like that. I was like,
She's
yeah,
recruiting a
okay,
new JSA because
hold
the other
on.
JSA is dead.
I know, but the I understand Stargirl is this like teenage girl. I get that. But that doesn't mean then you take all the JSA members and also make them teenagers. So you're taking Stargirl's thing, which is she's a young girl, and you're saying now the whole JSA are going to be just like Stargirl, young kids. I'm like, no, I don't
Well,
like that.
it makes sense in the story because all the
Yeah,
JSA are dead,
yeah, I
and
get it, and I liked that first
it's
intro,
what a
that first
teenage girl.
episode.
It's what a teenage girl would do because her stepdad is like, no, don't touch that stuff, and she sneaks in and gets it anyway, and she's like, I'm gonna give this to other people because we need a new
Hmm.
JSA. So who's she gonna give
Hmm.
it to? Obviously, her friends at school. So it
Right.
makes
I mean,
it
it's
makes
a completely new concept. I just, it. I
it's
mean, I
very
don't
good.
think they needed the. Then I wouldn't have even put the JSA in there. I would have just had Stargirl villains and a Stargirl, and maybe there's guest stars from other JSA members, but it's really just her, and she can have her friends at school, but she doesn't need to make them the
It's very
JSA.
good.
Yeah,
You should.
I want to catch up. I
It's
do
very
have
good.
Hulu, and I also have the HBO Max, and I think it's on there too because of
It's on
Warner
the
Brothers.
CW app for free,
It
so
is.
anybody, yeah,
Oh,
anybody can watch it. Yep.
okay. Yeah, I want to catch up on it. Maybe if I watch all of them.
Yeah,
Um.
because it's very well done. I'd say it's on par with the Superman show.
Oh, I really loved the first episode, but I didn't like this middle episode that I watched where she was like recruiting. I think one of her friends became maybe
Wildcat.
Dr. Midnight. Oh, it was the
Yeah,
Wildcat one. They were like in some laboratory, and I was like, "What?" And she
yeah,
had
and they get
claws,
Dr.
but
Midnight. Yeah, and they
I
get
thought,
Hour Man.
yeah, I thought Wildcat was a boxer, not a claw character.
Yeah, they're tweaking it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. But anyways, I'll give it a shot because I liked a lot of it. I liked a lot of it. So I'll check it out again. Um, I wanted to hit this one. There's another comment. So do you crowdfund any of your books?
Yes, I have a Patreon, and that's what funds most of my books. Patreon.com/Evan David Comics, and that has been keeping Black Blossom in production uh, every month. So every month we get about 4 new pages done. So we have enough funds for that. So it just keeps rolling out. We also get some maybe 3 or 4 Erg the Battler pages done. Thanks to a generous donation from one person, that entire
Wow.
series is all funded.
Oh
Erg the
wow.
Battler. It's only
So
4 issues.
you're going, so we got issue 1 and 2 available.
Yeah.
So where's issue 3 at
Issue
in
issue,
production?
issue 3 is we got up to page 12 done, so it has
Oh
about
wow.
12 more pages before issue 3 is finished. And obviously that one's a black and white series because I
Hmm.
don't have the funds to color it, but I want to get it
Hmm.
out there. So it's going to
Right.
be released in black and white first. And the art is good
Hmm.
enough where it looks like a, it'd be a cool black and white comic, kind of like the
Yeah.
the OG Ninja Turtles,
Hmm.
so I'm okay with it being black and white for now. I do eventually want to color
Right.
it. Yeah.
Right. And so we talked about um, most of your books. Let's talk about some other books that you've worked on. I know, so you're working on, for the people who are familiar with Biblical Proportions, number one, the people who have crowdfunded that book, or people that maybe even have characters in that book. You've taken over writing duties for that whole miniseries,
Mhm.
um, which is, I mean, a huge challenge, which we all know. So, what was that like, writing so many characters in a
Oh, I love it.
congruent story? Yeah.
I
Well,
love
I'm
it.
glad, because nobody else would love that. Not
Oh,
that
yeah.
taking that on.
I love writing other people's characters, and I love
Mm.
taking really complex stories and trying to smush them together and make it make sense. I think it's super fun to do. And yeah, so the whole miniseries is written. It's done. We can make a tweaks here and there, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's the core is finished and it is scripted and ready to be drawn. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all we're waiting on is the funds, and we're good to go. We already
All
have
right.
some of the pages
Some of it.
done,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe 6 or 7 pages of issue
Mm-hmm.
2 finished.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. I like the story. I mean, you came up with the story. I just wrote it
Right. Right.
and
Right.
serialized it. So
And you did the kind of the origin of the universe for Starcross Comics in Starcross United, which is 3 pages. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is. It starts with the whole creation of the universe, and then it shows our other characters through time, and then it shows them now. But I had this idea for Starcross United where I wanted to do like a origin of our whole universe, and I had these ideas, but I didn't know how to construct that in a it was just vague ideas, and I mentioned it to you, and then you said you come up with something, and then you did, and it was perfect. um I don't know if you can talk about any of that. I mean, it was only 3 pages, but it's super major. And then you
yeah,
could
yeah,
even transition into that other thing, which we're not really talking about, but it's more origin stuff, right?
yeah.
With some of the
So
villains.
with the origin of Starcross United, it's not really. I mean, it touches on the origin, but that's not really
Hmm.
a in-depth origin. It's more just like a preamble to the universe, and it's kind of the heart behind the universe. It's the prologue that you would read before you would read any other Starcross comic,
Hmm.
basically. So if we put it all in an omnibus, this would like go first. And so then I
Yeah.
wrote.
Mhm. At
So then I wrote
conventions, I
another thing.
sometimes tell people, if you get Starcross United, it has stories from all our books, and it has the origin of the whole universe, so it could branch off into whatever other titles you like.
Yeah. And so then I wrote another one that is kind of a in-story explanation of the origins of the Starcross universe. It ties together all the different organizations, gives them kind of an
Hmm.
origin point, sets up the world that all our books take place in. Most of our books are in their own little separate corners, and they never really cross over. But
Kind of
then
like
when they,
Batman is in Gotham, and
yeah,
Superman's in Metropolis, and Flash is in
but
Keystone. No,
they're
where
even
is it?
less connected than those are, because they don't really
Yeah.
cross over in the single issues. But when we do have a crossover issue, I want to have an established universe continuity, so you can go in and you can read everything together, and it'll make sense when you put the connective tissue of the crossover in there. And so whenever we're writing a connective issue, I'm always the one who's like, okay, but how can this make sense in continuity? And everybody else is like, it doesn't matter, let's just do it because it's cool. And I'm like, no, we're doing it, it's making sense, we're doing the continuity, we are not just winging it
That's
on
why
my
no
one.
one likes you. No one likes you. That's why. Um,
Because for
yeah.
me, like, comic books is one of the only medium where you have decades and decades of shared continuity. And
And they break them. when they
Well,
retcon things.
yeah, but they try to make it make sense in universe. At least,
Yeah.
and Marvel does a better job of that than DC does. But that's one thing that makes the genre of comic books unique. And so now in like current comics, especially with DC stuff, they're like trying to throw it out the window and just tell whatever story you want, we'll make it work. It just flies in the face of what comic books have been and one of the most unique things about it.
Well, I think it's when so many new writers come in and they're told they can do whatever they want, and they may have not even read all the issues
True.
of Flash. So they write a new story for Flash and it contradicts something that's been established, but they didn't even read that. So you can blame them and not blame them because they didn't know, but then they should have known, or the editor should have said, "Whoa, wait,
The
actually, your
editors.
contract." And I think a lot of the editors don't know.
Mm.
They aren't. There's some editors who know everything, and there's some that like were hired yesterday and they don't know.
And that's why if I ever work for DC, everything's going to make sense in continuity. And that's why if you're working at Starcross Comics and you want to do a crossover issue, you're going to have to go through me.
It, and you also did some writing for some other Starcross books, right?
Yes, I've done a lot of work for Bill, who does the Remnant and Tribulation Task Force stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So through his side stories, you're going to see a lot of my
Mm-hmm.
stuff there. I've got a 24-page Thief in the Night story coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a 4-page Trash Polka story.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to
I
be
didn't even
in.
know about that one. I don't think.
That's going to be in the Remnant number 1 or number 0,
Oh wow.
whatever. The one that
Okay.
rebrands the title.
Okay.
And then I've got some villain origin stories. I've got the Warriora
Oh wow.
origin
Mm-hmm.
story, or not an origin story, but a story about her with her in it.
Okay.
I think I have one more, but I can't remember what it is.
What about that female one that's coming up?
Yes, Rapture. I've got the character of Rapture is another one of his. That story is written in it. That's her origin story. It'll appear somewhere. And yes, I am writing one where it's some of the main female characters
That's
from each of our books are teaming up. So it's Black Blossom, it's Night Eye from the Red Talon series, it's in Pink Spade and Rapture from the Remnant Tribulation Task Force.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to team up and have a little adventure.
Rapture's your character.
No, Rapture's Bill's.
Oh, why did I think?
I've got a character premiering in Bill's book that's going to tie in with the Black Blossom.
Yes.
She's called Conscience.
Yeah, that's who I meant. Mm-hmm.
Yes, she's going to be in that 24-page Thief in the Night story.
Yeah, I mean, we all must have over 100 characters in all our books. It's really hard to, and especially when somebody comes up with a new character, it's hard to keep track of ones that you weren't very, very familiar with. When they're new, you're like, wait, wasn't that? Oh yeah, no, that was someone else's character. And it's like so many to keep track of.
I try to keep my new characters limited for when they show up in the story. I try not to think of like 100 characters that maybe they'll never show up, because it's hard to write enough comic books to introduce all the characters realistically. But having this like shared universe, hey Bill, yes, having this shared universe and having Bill I asked him, can I put some Black Blossom characters in here? So I got to introduce some of them early. So that's fun.
So some are going to be Black Blossom characters. I didn't know that. I thought they were going to be like exclusive to. Okay.
Well, so the villain for that, or one of the villains for that, is Vane, and he's going to show up in Black Blossom issue 7, 8, and 9.
Okay.
And he's going to be in that story as well. And
wow. That's pretty major.
Yeah, and Conscience is going to show up somewhere down the line in Black Blossom.
Oh, wow, that'll be cool. I didn't even know that.
Technically, Bill's story will happen in the future of the Black Blossom series. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when we make the master reading order, it'll go over there.
I know some of the people that watch are trying to do their own comics. Sometimes they like hearing advice from people who've done a lot of work, or what it's like, or how do they do it. Maybe if you had any advice to somebody who, let's say, was approaching your Comic-Con table or said they want to do that, and you do a lot of books, and what would you tell them, you know?
Well, so yeah, I would say if you want to do comics, you just need to have this. You need to have the script, the story, and then as far as producing the actual content, I use Fiverr all the time. Fiverr is a great, especially if you would like to, if you're on a budget, they have some great artists on there that'll work for a lot less money because the American dollar is worth more in the countries that they're from.
Mhm.
So that's really nice. That's where I got my start. And sometimes you'll find like real, like American level comic book professionals on there as well, but that'll cost you a little bit more money if you don't have any artist contacts yourself. As far as you know, any tips for story writing?
Yeah.
Unless you really, really, really want to do a team book like X-Men or
The
Fantastic Four,
Remnant.
or yeah, or something like that. Well, yeah, because Bill, he wants to do a team book like the X-Men or
Mhm.
Justice League or whatever. Otherwise, unless that's your die-hard goal, I would say start with one character and just
Right.
develop that one character and build around that character. Introduce your other side characters organically, and then maybe grow them into other main characters that will eventually, and by the time you've grown them into your other, superhero cast or whatever, you've got these stories and these back issues already that people have already been invested with them. And that's kind of what I'm doing with Black Blossom. Now Bill's doing something else, which is cool. He's already had these characters. He introducing them like the X-Men. And then now he's going back with these secret files
Mhm.
issues and telling their backstories retroactively, which is a cool way to do it also.
Right. So, another aspect of what you do, I know we touched on a lot, is doing editing for everybody's books.
Mm.
I know it's pretty hard job, but I mean, you're the only person I could think that would be good at doing that. It comes down to, you know, caring about the books, wanting to help everybody's stuff to, be good, proofread, edited, you know, in continuity or out, wherever their universe is. I know that's a whole other aspect on what you do. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's like I said, that's all super fun for me is trying to make all the continuity make sense, make sure the stories are lining up and there's no contradictions. And I like learning the lore of the characters. And like sometimes I'll find a moment in a comic maybe where the motivation that for what the character's doing doesn't make sense, and I'll go back to the writer and I'll say, hey, what's the motivation here? What about this? They just said this, now they're doing this, and we'll talk through that sometimes. And uh, sometimes they'll point out to something that they had in their mind that wasn't clear on the page, and so I'm like, okay, we need to like just add one thing of dialogue somewhere, and boom, everything makes sense, or sometimes I'll point that out and they'll say, oh yeah, that's right, maybe I'll save that for later, or something like that. But the hardest thing for me is just finding the time to do it, because it takes a long time to read through and be detailed and stuff. So but once I do have the time and I get to sit down and do it, it's fun. I like to do it.
You know, I actually like when people edit my stuff. I know a lot of creators hate it because, they only have the voice in their head that's like telling the story back and
Mhm.
forth, and they understand it. It's coming from their mind. They've played it out, and if they show it to someone they don't understand, it's like, well, because you don't get it, I get it. Other people get it because I understand it, and then they're just so focused in their own head. If an editor comes and they're like, this doesn't make sense, you need to change it, maybe something like this, they're like, no, that's not the way it's supposed to go. It needs to be like this. And it was fine the way I had it. And they're so defensive. I actually like it because I see a good editor, not a bad editor, but I see a good editor, somebody who reads your work and then lets you know when something doesn't work. But you're not just getting a critic, and that's the key. You're not just getting somebody who's going to criticize, like, I don't like this, so it should be this way. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Is this somebody who says, I read it, I like it, like a lot of it, there's parts that need to be fixed for sure. And that's somebody who's giving you constructive advice to make it better. And little tweaks could be things that you didn't see, you didn't notice because you were just racing to the finish line to get it done, and you're like, it's perfect, it's fine. And when somebody else is like, this part makes, and you go, oh yeah, I guess it doesn't make sense right there. And when somebody can show you those things, you'd rather go out, without food on your face, and somebody says, hey, you need to wipe right here. And then you're like, oh, I'm glad they told me that, and you don't look like an idiot. So I really value it. And I like taking what I did and elevating it because somebody else looked at it. Now I don't just have what I wrote, but I have what I wrote with also somebody else checking over my stuff. So now it's double secure. And it's like when I draw a cover, but then I hire a colorist to color over my, so I have my art which I like, okay, but then a
Mm.
really good colorist makes it look even better, and now I can go, yeah, I really love that cover because it wasn't just me, but it was also this really great colorist who really elevated my work. So it's like when I write something, I really like my story, but let's say someone like Evan really elevated my story where it would have just been like okay before, but took it up a notch where now I'm really proud of it, and I can say, it'll stand up to other people reading it and not finding holes everywhere. And that's the thing that creators always need to remember when somebody's editing them, like Evan, that he's just trying to like reinforce your structure so it can withstand other people's, you know,
Criticism.
yeah, pushing up against, oh, this doesn't make sense. I don't like this. Why that made, stuff like that. So yeah, editing is hard, but you
Well, and
have
I
to
get it.
really love everybody's books to try to make them better.
I get it. I have my writing edited when I write for Basecamp Adventures. I've got a team of people, one or two people who go through it and give me feedback. And it's sometimes it is like hard, and I do have to push back sometimes, and other times it's like, yeah, you're right. I'll change that.
Yeah.
And but that did happen to me. It's funny that you said that about having food on your face, because I have a friend, and one time she ate ice cream and she had just like chocolate stuff on her face, and I didn't tell her about it because I thought she'd
Mm-hmm.
get embarrassed or something. And
Yep.
then, and then later she's like, "You should have told me." She was really mad.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Got a couple comments. Sarah says hello.
hello.
and Brad says, I'd like to see a Red Talon Black Blossom crossover. Is it because they have colors in their names?
Well, they also use swords. Black Blossom
Mhm.
uses swords a lot.
That's true.
Obviously, Red Talon does that as well. Um, one thing I did pitch to the group that nobody liked, but I'm going to do
Hmm.
anyway, is a
What
is
didn't we
a
like?
the romance comic idea.
No, I like it. I want to do it.
Okay,
I want to do it.
nobody
I'm
else liked
100% in. I'm 100% in.
it because I want to do like an old fashioned like
Yeah.
DC Comics
Yeah.
romance
I'm in. I'm
comic
in.
where it's like love stories from the, and I would love to do a story where it's just like
That's fine. They don't
ridiculous.
have to be in it then. We
Yeah,
just
well,
have the people who are interested in it.
I love the like the Silver Age like Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane stories where Lois is like, Superman has married two other women, neither one of them are me. It's just
Yeah.
something completely ridiculous
Yeah.
that I'd love to do some zany stuff like that with some of the Starcross characters just for
So
fun. See,
our
Bill, he hates it.
I know that's fine. He doesn't have to be in it, even though he has a lot of good female characters, and it'd be a loss. But I have a friend who Jackie Nodell, and she's the granddaughter of what's his name, Nodell, the creator of the original Alan Scott Green Lantern,
Hmm.
and she runs a website called Sequential Crush, and she just it's a blog where she just talks about the old romance comics, the OG original romance comics that aren't even like DC or Marvel. They're just like,
Yeah, they're just romance.
yeah, those. And she's just really into those, and she posts about those and talks about those. I've been trying to get in contact with her again since she moved like a whole bunch of times, and I lost contact with her. But because she does that, either tap her for either promotion of it, because she's got a whole fan base that's into that. We should hit them up.
Yeah. Well, and another reason I want to do it is because I want to get better at writing multiple genres. Like
Yeah.
I mainly write, the action, superhero, adventure stuff. I want to try to write romance. I want to try to write horror. I want to try to write
Right.
mystery. Stuff like that. I'd love to. One of the hardest things for me is writing an interesting slice of life piece. Because that's a hard line to walk from being,
Right.
a nice, chill, interesting story, or being like super boring. So I
Right.
want to,
Really hard.
I would love to try to figure out how to do that.
I think it's just like normal day-to-day drama, like
Yeah.
somebody at the laundromat, and then they lose their money, and then they get fired, and then they go to their roommate, and then their dog ran away.
Well, it's like
That's what it seems like.
yeah, well, it's like it's Studio Ghibli. Like half their stuff is like super high fantasy, crazy spiritualism, and then the other stuff is like it's a little middle school crush movie.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
but it's still like super interesting and really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd love to figure out the formula for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm all in for that book. We can make that happen. Just include me in.
Okay.
We'll see who's interested. I'll make sure to get who's ever interested in it, and we'll produce it one way or another. So one sec, let's check our comments. So Sarah says, I've done beta reading, love it.
Is that for Crypto Comics?
Maybe.
Because we have a lot of our stuff on Crypto Comics.
Is that from Crypto Comics, Sarah? I'll let us know. And then again, Bill says, boo, romance comics. So
romance comics are awesome, Bill.
I'm not into them, Bill. I'm just saying it would be cool to do a star-crossed romance where there's some of our characters, and then that's the genre. It's just cool to like mess around with those different genres. Like if you took some characters from our superhero titles and put them in like a horror themed story, that would be crazy, because you don't usually see superhero type characters in like a horror setting. It's just kind of bizarre, so it'd be fun. And I'm not into horror either, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't want to do one for fun. Let's see. I'm not a huge fan of it either. Okay, yeah. But I mean, you'd be into ours, because we'd have
right.
our cool characters, and Evan would come up with something not lame.
Hopefully.
Sarah's saying completely understandable and major respect to write various genres. Exactly. Oh, she says no, it was from a few other creators. Okay. Yeah.
Well, check out our stuff. Hopefully you'll like it.
Yeah.
So before we go,
yeah,
I sent you a link, Joe, in the private chat that I'd like you to share. I just put this up here. I put myself on Fiverr now as a writer.
Oh, wow.
If you have an idea for a comic that you would like to do, but you don't think you have the ability to make it into a cohesive script, hire me, please, and I would love to do it for you. Yeah, there's that link there, and you can check it out. My rates are on there, and some samples of my work, and I'd love to help you write.
You don't have enough to work on? You're doing like 6 titles.
I can write comics all day long.
How many comics, active comics, are you working on?
Black Blossom, Erg the Battler,
Outed
is written, and it's stalled right now because they don't have any.
Okay.
And so Erg the Battler is written also. We're currently working on issue 7 of Black Blossom. Issue 6 is almost done. It should be released in the next couple of weeks. But I've written up to like 13 or 14 issues of the Black Blossom, even though we're only on 7 in the production. I'm working on Paw Salvation, which is a
Right.
comic book for a
For
charity.
charity or
Yeah, and then whenever I either
Bib
Bill has,
Pro's written.
yeah, Biblical Productions or Proportions is written.
Yep.
Whenever Bill has an idea, or sometimes I'm just scrolling through Bill's characters and I'm like, I want to write that story. And I pitch it to him. He's like, sure, whatever, go ahead. So that's how a lot of them have been done.
And then
And then
romance thing that eventually, and then whatever I come up with to throw at you.
yeah. So please, if you have an idea and you want a script writer,
Wow.
hit me up. I would love
That's
to
pretty amazing because I'd
help you out.
recommend you. And if somebody's working on a book, but they can't write it, even if you have like, oh, I have this idea, but I don't know how to write it as a story, or, you're an artist, but you're not a good writer. I mean, to have Evan write it, I would recommend because he's done so many, so he knows
And
what
I
he's
love
doing.
writing, single issues, one and done. I also love writing for the trade, 6, 12 issues, arcs, or whatever. Love that stuff. So
Yeah, and most writers will bail on you after the first issue, and then you got to get someone new. I mean, it's true. A lot of people will go, I'm not that into this anymore. I'm going to bail.
Yeah, but not with Fiverr, because if
Oh.
you bail,
No, I
then
mean they'll
be a
they'll
penny.
do the first issue, complete it, turn it in, and then like they'll just you won't be able to get them for issue 4 and 5 and 6.
Well, you know where to reach me.
There you go. I posted it.
Great.
Let's see. Bill says, "Oh, cool. That would be a cool way to make some money."
Hopefully.
Seriously, I'll check it out. What's the website or Facebook page? Was it for the Fiverr or is it for
Fiverr? Bill or Joe posted it up there
Yep.
above. And then my personal website where you can find all my stuff is at evandavidproductions.com. You can
Yep, I
also find
posted
my
that
comics
too.
at
Yep.
starcrosscomics.com.
Yeah. And yeah, everybody go to starcrosscomics.com because that's where Evan's books are. Um just putting it wrong. Star. It's hard to type at the same time. Um and the thing is he has all of his many, many, many books there. So we're talking Black Blossom, Urg the Battler, and Outed, and
Strange
Strange
Tales.
Tales from Eternity. Are you still doing more of those, or is that
Whenever I get the
lost?
inspiration, I have
Yeah.
a couple of I
Yep.
have a couple of stories in
Yep.
the various stages of completion for that. I just need to finish them.
Yeah. Let me just for the people who want to check out, don't forget that we also have our stuff digitally for those that are like from other countries and this and that it's hard to get the books. I'm gonna quick play our digital commercial if you stand by, Evan,
Okay.
for the people who are wondering if they can download any of our books.
Walking down the sidewalk, kicking my feet as I'm moving to the music. Step to the beat, I woke up today, canceled all my plans, and I stepped right outside with my guitar in my hands, and the notes became loud as the sound caressed the air, and I kicked it up a notch as I strolled without a care, cause I'm going down the road to a brand new place, and I'll get there with a smile on my face, yeah, so lift me up, I'm moving on, singing and dancing while I play my song, yeah, I'm having a good time, keeping it going, come on, clap your hands, and won't you sing along, and now let's take it up high, give our dreams that wings to fly, gotta keep the fire burning, keep the hope alive, they gotta keep it turning.
We're back.
Hey, it's my wife and son.
Hey guys. Hey,
One more time.
why is he up? My little guy is sleeping.
Yeah, he's supposed to be sleeping.
He was watching the commercial upstairs.
Oh.
Say good night, y'all.
Good night, Clark.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Awesome. Let's see. We got so Brad says, Get those black blossoms moving. I'm ready for more. I'm interested to see how powerful she ends up being. Whoa.
I am all for it. Please, if you would like to expedite the production of Black Blossom, you can do so at my Patreon, or patreon.com/Evan David Comics, and we will get the artist moving on that. He's doing 4 pages a month, but he can do up to 6, maybe more if we get some more funding. So we will get it done.
I think your wife's posting. She's always writing something or making a list.
Yes, always.
Are your lists like work on the next Black Blossom, work on this thing that Joe just told me about?
Sometimes, but other times I just like there's something like I'm mostly right-brained, but there's something in my brain that loves to make lists of things. Like I'll just be thinking about like, you know what? I need to make a top 10 list of all my favorite TV shows. Or something like that.
I saw you did a YouTube with your sister.
Yes.
And it was like top 10s.
My top 10 favorite DC and Marvel characters. Yes.
I watched that. It was too long. Took up way too much of my time, but I don't even think I got through the end, but I got like
just
I'd say most of the way through. Let's see. Sarah said I was writing a book, but it kept coming true, and not in a good way because it's a psychological thriller. Well, I mean, we write a lot of fantasy, political world building, and that all comes true. So now it's like, oh, you're just ripping off the news. I'm like, no, this wasn't supposed to happen. This was sci-fi.
We wrote this before it happened.
Is like the reality is ripping me off.
That's funny.
Let's see who else is making some comments. We may very well have a mutual Facebook friend since indie creators seem to overlap, which is good. Yeah, for sure. Starcross Comics has a lot of creators. If you check out our website, you can check out everybody's books, and we have about 20 creators, I believe. Sarah, check out our website. We also have Starcross Comics on Facebook. If you guys sign up for our mailing list, you can always stay up to date on, when the new issue of Black Blossom comes out. We'll send out a mailing list, and that's how you know. So you don't have to keep checking our website every day, but you can do that too. And then we'll let you know, hey, say this Kickstarter is going, or this Indiegogo is going, or sometimes we just launch it directly on the site with no crowdfunding, and then you can order it. Exactly what I said about nature was plagiarizing me. Yeah, exactly. You say, no, I came up with this interesting storyline, and now it's happening, and you're like, but I came up with it. How do you get ripped off from reality? But
I shared that in the private chat. I shared that video for the top 10.
Oh, you did. Let's check it out.
My sister has a cool YouTube channel, and I always like to share my opinions about superheroes, so you can check that out.
Okay, so here's that. So that's the link to Evan's sister's YouTube channel, and she did an interview with. So this is her channel, and then she featured you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to share my screen here. I don't know if you can see that.
Here we go.
This is my website. Where you can check it out. I've got the comics, I've got books, I've got audio drama, animation, even some video game stuff I've done. I'm also on Comixology. If you have that app, you can find all of most of my titles here. Cool. One thing I do want to recommend that's not a comic book is my Eve book, which besides the Black Blossom is probably my favorite thing I've ever written.
Oh, see, I've seen the ad a number of times, but I honestly don't really know what it is. What is it? I know who Eve is, but
yeah, it's historical fiction about the life of Eve. So it's reading in between the lines of Scripture and what Scripture infers and building it into
a novel?
Narrative and a story. It's a novella. Yes, it's a breezy read, very short.
Okay, so no comic pictures inside. It's straight book.
Yes, it's a prose novel. It does have an illustration at the beginning of every chapter, but
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So it's that's interesting. Cool. Is that on Amazon at all or
yes, you can
okay.
find it on Amazon. It's called The Life and Times of
Oh,
Eve.
here.
It's right here. It's $10,
Gotcha.
and it's free shipping with Prime. And like I said, it's a breezy read. You could probably read it in an hour or two. And it's like I said, it's probably one of my favorite things I've ever written.
Oh, nice.
I'm really
So is
proud
the cover artist the person who did the inside then too for those little?
No. So
Okay.
what's great about the inside is that Kingstone Comics let me use their art for it. So I got some really great art for the inside.
Okay.
Depicting the different biblical events. The art just on the cover is called Alaxi, I think it's
okay.
It's ASLX.
Is that a female?
Yes,
female?
She wrote she did the cover for Black Blossom #4.
That's what I thought.
Yes, let me see. I'm doing a terrible job of plugging her. Let me just. There it is. Okay, ALASXE, and that's her artist name, and you can find her on Instagram.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Let's see. I just want to get everybody in. I stopped writing the book. I didn't know it was going to come true next. It was like Jumanji. That's funny. I have published work on Drive Through PG. Is that like, I know Drive Through Comics, but I don't know
Drive Through Page.
Could be. We'll have to check that out. Yeah, but check us out. Go to starcrosscomics.com and check out Evan's books. They do well. Everybody likes his stuff. Glad we got to talk with them. And Evan, anything else you want to add that we haven't touched on? We touched on a lot.
Yeah. Just if you haven't checked out Black Blossom, please check it out. It's my ongoing series. Like I said, I've written at least up to 13, 14 issues. It's probably going to go to 25 or 50 in the long run. And she's going to be crossing over a lot with the other titles of Starcross. So it's my main character. I really like her. She's a Pacific Island person who it's based on my wife, actually. And it's got lots of action and humor and just fun stuff like that.
Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Evan, for coming, and get some rest.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Yes. We'll see you later.
See you later. Thank you. All right, everybody. We're going to be signing off. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, everyone, for commenting. Let's see. Sarah said RPG, not PG in the website. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Sarah. All right. We're going to be signing off, guys. Thanks a lot for all your comments. Thanks to Evan. And hopefully see you next time. All right.